from our Orinda office, and they're going to talk to us today about kick-starting our business. So, Lisa, Randy, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Are you guys ready to crack the code on how to make millions of dollars in real estate while you stay in your undies on the sofa watching Jerry Springer reruns? Is that what you've got for us today?
No.
Oh, well, shoot.
Not the underwear thing.
People are immediately logging off. The show is over. Thanks for listening. No, good. I'm glad you guys are actually here to talk about this. I snuck a peek at some of your talking points and some of the bullet points, and many of them resonate with me quite a bit. I think you have a very no-nonsense approach to how to sort of attack the residential real estate business. And one of the things I love about it is you can get your unfair share, right?
Correct.
One of the things that stinks about it is you can get your unfair share on the other side, too. But you guys have figured out how to get your unfair share, and you're willing to share it with all the agents that are listening. So thank you for taking your time today.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's dive in. So you've been in the business for 10-plus years, and this is going to be your biggest year ever. Is that true?
Yes.
Yes. So what tips can you give to agents? I mean, you've had a relatively lengthy career, right? 10 years isn't forever in the business, but you've sort of passed the tipping points to where people normally make this their life's work, right?
Right.
And so what tips can you give agents that you learned, and how are you doing it differently here in year 10, creating the best result for yourself as opposed to years maybe 3 and 4?
Well, I would say the first tip is, as Woody Allen would say, 80% of success is showing up.
Right.
From there,
Yeah.
you want to...
I think that's our first Woody Allen quote in the history of the radio show, which is awesome. I can't believe it's taken this long. That's great.
Thank you. Keep working even when you don't have clients. Because
Right. In fact, work harder.
Well, work
Because
harder.
what else are you doing?
Exactly. I find that, and with Randy, my husband, too, is that when you're in the business, nobody is, giving you business like a regular job. So this job, being an independent contractor,
Yeah.
you really have to be proactive in taking the time and energy to pursue clients.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was having a conversation with some agents the other day, and this topic of consistency came up. And sort of whether you have 8 in escrow or none in escrow, are you consistently doing the things to get the results you want?
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things to do. This is a people-oriented business.
Shoot.
Get your face in.
It'd be so much easier without these darn people.
I know. Actually, that's what
know.
drives us.
I know, it's
For
true.
me, it's
You're
a lot
right.
of fun.
Yeah.
I come from a large family, being around a lot of people. That's what makes me tick. So I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
Figuring out what you do and doing it a lot. Because I like to be in front of people, I like to talk, it's a lot of fun taking care of people. So open houses is absolutely my first and foremost thing that I enjoy doing.
Would you say you do an open house every weekend, most weekends? How many open houses do you think you do a year?
A year?
Yeah, there's 52 weekends in a year, so.
Not
Best
as many
guess.
as she should.
Yes! I see you brought your conscience with you. That's good. That's good.
Okay, that's what's great about being on team. He makes me, be accountable.
That's right. Calls you Sunday. Where are you?
Yeah. Actually, with our listings, we try to have them every Sunday, and when not, then I have, like yesterday I was out for 5 hours showing property.
Right. Right.
It's getting out there. And when you don't have those appointments, you're talking to people in lines at the grocery store. Strike up a conversation. You'd be amazed on how people really connect with real estate, because that is their largest investment, and they want to know what's going on with the market.
There is a big voyeuristic component to residential real estate, that's for sure. People are really curious about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And another tip is getting your systems in place. And what I mean by that is having a system that you can go to, making sure that you're checking your internet, checking your
The market.
Yeah, checking the market, and just make sure, so that, because if you don't plan anything, guess what? Nothing gets done.
Right, right. So having a defined process for how you follow up with a lead, how you follow up with your open house leads, how many open houses you're going to do a month, those kinds of systems and processes.
Plan.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Good.
And then I like this idea of, this was Randy says, plan your work, work your plan.
Yeah.
He's my go-to guy.
Nice. Good. So having that real clear, concise vision for one of the hard things about this career choice of residential real estate is I used to get asked in the past. When are you going to be done? When are you going to be done? Right? It's an interesting question about residential real estate. Like when are you going to be done today? Right? You're never done.
No.
You just stop. Because there's always one more email you could send. There's always one more client you could follow up with. There's always one more person you could add to your database. So you're never done. You just choose to stop.
Correct.
And so having those definitive, how do you know if you've had a successful day in residential real estate today? Whether that's I booked an appointment or I showed property or I opened escrow. The most successful days are the days we close escrows, right?
Correct.
Yeah. But having those mile markers so that you know if today was a successful day to impact the future of your business, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good. Okay. So you've been an agent for 12 years, but this will be your best year in the business. So how has your focus changed? What have you done differently this year specifically?
What's important with this question is the focus. Mm-hmm. And for myself, we have 2 now grown children, and prior years, even though I was in the business, my focus was our children.
Got it.
That was my primary goal. And with our son in particular, who has a learning disability, there was time that had to be spent. So it was juggling back and forth, back and forth. And what's the beauty is that he's done incredibly well. He's now a young adult, and our daughter is also a young adult. And it freed me to really stay focused on real estate.
So one way to grow your business is to get your kids out of the house.
You know what? It really does help.
Get the kids out of the house. You heard it here first.
Well, and I listen to that with other moms. It's a struggle. You're trying to be a really good mom. You're also trying to be a really good real estate agent. And it's hard to juggle both. And with the odd hours that you have till 10 o'clock at night when you have little ones, it's hard.
Yeah.
But I will say, if you have your system set up in place, it actually gets you organized. You could be more efficient and more proactive. And it will make you a happier person, because I always felt like, I need to be doing this. I need to be doing that. And I needed to just say, I will work X amount of hours on real estate, and this is the other time I will work with family.
It's interesting because boundaries are hard, right? Like
Absolutely.
setting boundaries, you're going to disappoint people, you're going to upset people, you're going to frustrate people.
Right.
But if you don't become good at setting boundaries, you aren't going to get the results you want from this business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm an absolute people pleaser. I do not want to disappoint.
Got it. So that's an interesting life lesson to learn and develop and grow and muscle to build, right?
Right.
That you obviously have, because that's probably one of the reasons that you're having this tipping point in your business. So that's great. Cool. What else have you been focusing on this year that's different to help you have this slingshot of success?
Absolutely no longer a secret agent.
Aha! Good. Good. You've got cards and everything now?
I've got cards.
Look at you.
Well, I have to say, I adore my manager, our manager, Regina Engelhardt.
She's one of the best in the company.
I will tell you, she has always been our #1 supporter. Get your face
great.
out there, Lisa. You know the community. You
Right.
know the people. You've lived in Orinda for 20 years. And what would always bug her is we'd go out and I know everybody.
Right.
It's like, you know them. And,
You're like the mayor.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just, so when I became committed to this job, knowing that being a secret agent was not getting me any business, that's when also, and it's as you build up, you become more and more confident, you feel comfortable, and now I tell everybody. I mean, people standing in the grocery line, I was even at the DMV, handed out my business card.
Right.
So it's just any opportunity when you see someone that doesn't know you. Hi, I'm Lisa Shaffer. I'm a realtor with Better Homes and Gardens. And then all of a sudden people are like, oh, and I think I'm a nice person. So they just kind of immediately
Engage in conversation.
Engage in conversation, exactly.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
I'm sure the question you get asked all the time is, how's the market, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Hugely important, everybody. Know your market.
Yes. Yeah.
Know the inventory. Know the community. Know the schools. Know the back roads.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, God. I'm going to start with the rum in my coffee now. No. So, yeah, having a really great answer to the how's the market question, right, is a powerful way to set a context of a different kind of conversation.
Then you become a professional.
Correct. You have an opportunity to position yourself with real statistics, real market knowledge, and really deliver some power there, really deliver a differentiated conversation.
Well, one thing you got to know about Lisa, too, is that she hasn't met a stranger she didn't know.
Right. So how did I find this a lot as people grow in their career, like the stranger that you didn't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did you? Is it just time in business that got you to where you went? You know, you see brand new licensee and they're sort of wilting flowers, right? They're in line and they don't know how to strike up a conversation, or they maybe don't feel comfortable making that conversation be about real estate. How did you make that shift for yourself to where you went from being a secret agent or more of a secret agent to more comfort level and willingness to discuss your profession sort of open and notoriously? Or how did that shift happen?
It's a confidence
Yeah.
for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was the trigger.
Yeah.
And when you are asked questions in real estate, you want to make sure that you have the right answer.
Right. Right.
And I am a type of personality that if I tell you something, it has to be true.
Yeah.
And it has to have value.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the two things that I learned with time is that, you know, if you don't do anything, nothing happens, and you don't learn, you don't
Right.
expand your horizons on real estate. Once you start that ball rolling, that's the beauty of this business.
Yeah.
And it's a ton of fun.
It is. It really is
It really is,
rewarding
because it's all
career
about
choice.
people.
Yeah.
And, you know, people say, oh, you know, you're doing really well, and, oh, you know, you hear the money side of it. But, you know, for me, the absolute payoff is making people happy.
Yeah, if it was about the money, in truth, we wouldn't do this
Right,
career.
right.
Because if you do it at an hourly rate, it's not that
Oh,
great.
yeah.
It's not that great. I know the checks come in big denominations, but they don't come as frequently as other people's. And if you did it on an hourly rate, in truth, there are more efficient ways to make wealth.
Right.
One thing that I've learned over time is for agents that are maybe sort of stuck in that secret agent track is developing just a really killer, totally awesome, like could go on CNBC and answer how's the real estate market question.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a ton of confidence in the answer to that question, because it's the one we hear 80-90% of the time,
Mm-hmm.
if you can develop just like a crusher answer to that really makes people go, oh, wow, I didn't know that, or man, that's a great statistic, or really get their eyebrows to go up. They tend to feel more comfortable engaging in conversation around the business side of what they do. So having a great answer to that question is important. All right. So it sounds like life has created a condition where you've gotten a little more time back and you've decided to funnel and channel some of that into your business. Just get real tactical. Like, I know you have a great work ethic, but have you been working long hours? Tell me what that looks like. Tell me what a day in the life, you know, wake up at 6, start answering email, go to bed at 2 a.m. Like, what's a day in the life look like?
We get up about 7 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
and getting our day started with real estate probably starts about 9.
Okay.
Because I know my real estate job doesn't start at 9 o'clock. It starts in the early afternoon and goes into the evening.
Right.
So the day in the life of myself is when I have a listing agent, or excuse me, I am the listing agent.
Right. Yes. Good. Good.
When I have a listing, a lot of the houses that we get happen to have needs.
Yes.
And so I become a project manager.
Mm-hmm.
And so making sure that all my vendors are in place, because all those vendors that I collect and I use are an extension of myself.
It's part of your value prop.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So I make sure that everybody that Randy and I work with are going to have the same values that we have, and that they end up with the same finished product or doing what they need to do so that our finished project is well and good.
Yep.
It's perfect.
Good.
So with the listing side, that entails that particular time. With a buyer, it's like, for example, yesterday met with a client at 11 o'clock and then worked until 4:30.
Mm-hmm.
But there's the preparation time. So I
Right.
went down to the office, got started, and, you know, I don't like to linger. I
Mm-hmm.
like to have everything done so I'm ready to go.
Right.
And I'm not doubting that, oh, did I forget this or
Right.
something. So just have everything in place and just spend the time to think about how you want to present a package of yourself to the buyer, present yourself a package to the seller. But my evenings can last until 10 o'clock at night.
Sure.
But again, having that freedom to not worry about having dinner on the table and all
Right.
that really, you know, sorry, Randy, sometimes
Yeah.
he doesn't have dinner.
Yeah. Randy doesn't really like this plan. His 10 p.m. plan isn't really working out for him so good. Yeah. So how many hours a week would you say you work?
Oh, my goodness.
Best guess. I give you permission to be wrong.
Well, no, it's not that it's wrong. I don't look at it in terms of a week. I look at it on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. How many hours you work a day?
Absolutely 8.
Absolutely 8.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good. Sometimes
And,
more, sometimes less.
Actually, sometimes more because you're thinking about things and
Right.
trying to be more effective and more efficient. And what could I have said that would have been different?
Mm-hmm.
So and that's the beauty of it. I mean, one of the goals that I had for real estate is that it really does embrace our life. It's
Yes.
not just a job. It's, it's a
Right.
part of our life.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is that's exactly what it's become.
Yeah. I mean, when the brand is you,
Yeah.
right? I mean, yes, we have Better Homes and Gardens as a brand, and it's great because it's got great mind awareness and wonderful national reach and blah, blah, blah. But the brand that the consumer experiences is truly you, right?
Well, we
And-
represent the company.
Yep. You're the lens. We're just the
Absolutely.
lens. You're the light that shines
Right.
through the lens. Right?
Absolutely.
So when you are your brand, which in residential real estate, you are your brand, your brand never sleeps.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you do is a reflection of your brand, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting. Okay. So what activities are you doing differently now, specifically, that have turned into more business? So what activities... Now, I want to get kind of tactical here if we can. So,
No, perfect.
Yeah, what real activities are you doing that's generating the best result?
Right. I would say definitely more FaceTime.
Yeah.
And that means getting out, meeting people. If you are hiding in a closet, nothing's going to happen.
Right.
Planning better.
Uh-huh.
When this is a job where you have to dictate your itinerary.
Yeah.
You don't show up at a regular job and somebody hands you saying, okay, I want you to do this, this, this. No, it's you.
Let's dig in on that a little bit because I'm curious really how you do that because this is one of the things that I see real estate professionals struggle with more than anything else.
Absolutely.
Is, I can go on a diatribe about how our educational system, including college, trains employees, not entrepreneurs, and designs human beings to be more risk averse and et cetera, but that's a different show for a different time. But having that freedom to do whatever you want is one of the biggest blessings that residential real estate provides. It's also what makes it one of the hardest things in the world to be successful at because we're really hardwired from a very early age to have someone tell us what to do on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
And to wake up in the morning and go, what does today hold for me? There's not a lot of conditioned education around that. And so I find a lot of real estate professionals will sort of muddle their way through until they stumble on a system and process that works for them. So how that sense of sacrificing a little bit of your freedom to the real estate gods, to have that structure, to get the results you want. How do you feather that into your business, and what does that look like? Is it is there a giant wall calendar and everything goes on the calendar? Is it you use Outlook? Like really tactically, how do you build that structure into your business?
Well, I know for us, internet is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And keeping tabs of, Randy's been really good about setting up accounts with like Trulia, Realtor.com, and just, getting it gets back to your systems again.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to?
Well, I'm kind of a big fan of the Franklin Covey system. So as far as the planning your day, I use the Franklin Covey system and their calendars. I kind of both use paper and Outlook.
Yeah.
I kind of use the paper to journalize my day, to keep track of it, both for reference and tax purposes. So
Right.
I can always explain where I was and what I was
we got to
doing.
pay taxes? I thought that taxes? What are you talking about?
But I always write in my day planner my list of what I want to accomplish that day, what I need to have done by noon.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I measure the success of the day is how many checkoffs I get to mark on my list that I wrote either the night before or that morning.
There's actually a cool app that Chris Kamali in the Pleasanton office turned me on to called Wunderlist, Wunderlist. And it's a list app that you can have, and you can share it with different people. So if you guys had a work app, like to-do list for the day, if you could add something to her list, she could add something to your list, or you could add something to a combined list, and you both see the list.
Right.
And both people can check off the list as well.
That's great.
So it's a pretty useful tool that Chris turned me on to that works pretty well. I'm not a big add an app for app's sake guy, so I'll try any app for a little while, and if it impacts my life, I'll keep it. If it doesn't, I won't. But I found that one to be pretty good, especially for list creation and management across multiple people and stuff. So,
well, and I think it is important to have a list because if you're not writing it down, your brain tries to formulate a list, but you're like you just start dropping the ball on that. So it's important.
When you see it written out, you can start to force rank, right? The 80-20 rule dictates everything on the list isn't of equal importance. Mm-hmm. So what are the most important things that I get done today? And what are the, I think I still have dry cleaning in my back seat, right? So, yeah, it's on the list, but will Mason-McDuffie as a company keep spinning if I don't get my dry cleaning in? At some point it's got to get done, but it may not have to get done today. So force ranking the items of importance, I think, is something where having that list can help us a tremendous amount. Okay, good. So I love that it usually comes down to the basics, right? This isn't revolutionary, but make a to-do list and then stick to it.
Right.
Right. Crazy.
But the importance is that you commit to it.
Yeah. And
you implement it.
Yeah. Now, you guys have the benefit of some accountability, right?
Yeah, we've been married for 27 years.
Right. So now that's interesting. So how do you hold each other accountable? Wow, this is about to get real Oprah. All right, everybody ready? How do you guys, as a husband and wife, how do you hold each other accountable in and around business? Because that's not always easy.
Well, I think what's interesting about our marriage and our team as a real estate is we're very different.
Uh-huh.
He is totally the analytical. He's the numbers guy.
I think the end of this story is he's gotten really good at yes, dear, and that's why it works. Is that the punchline here?
Well, if you want the 4 steps for successful marriage.
Yeah. Yes.
Uh-huh.
You got it?
Yes, dear.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Yep, I see, and now I understand. All right. We should have charged for this webinar. This one was worth money. That was a gut one. It was, you're right. Yes, dear, and I'm sorry. That is a good list.
And you know what? It worked. No,
my problem is I just always got stuck at Yeah, yeah, all right, yeah. See,
that doesn't work.
No, I'm learning. All right, good.
No, but what's great is that Randy just brings a whole different tactic, and I'm the more the people hand-holding, and but it's great because, like, for example, when we go on listings appointments, it's interesting seeing what he brings to the table. I mean, what's not to sound sexist, but it's funny, the guys always want to hear about the numbers, and the wife wants to hear about how we're going to take care of them and what we're going to do to their home and that kind of thing.
Right.
So we cover all bases, which is great. And Randy is really a delight to talk to and hang out with, so we have a fun time together. So it's good, and people see that.
Really successful teams, whether it's running Mason-McDuffie or running a real estate team, whether by just sort of natural process or by design, you know what each other is really good at and you know what each other is not good at.
Absolutely.
And you allow the person who is really good at something to be the decision maker in the area in which they are best. And you allow the person who isn't very good at something, they go, I don't know. Check with him, right? Or if there's some other components.
Well, actually, you don't say no, or quite. You just kind of ease back out and let him
take forward. Yeah.
And it's just a give and take.
Good.
It really is.
So a question from the audience is marketing spend. Do you have a big marketing spend? And it's actually one of the next questions we have. So how significant is your have you increased your marketing investment? Tell us a little bit about how you market for leads as opposed to prospect for leads.
Yes, absolutely. If you are again a secret agent, no one knows. So, invest the money in your local newspapers. So we're in our local newspapers, and Randy takes care of that. He's my tech guy and an advertising guy. Another one is when you have your listings, spend the money on staging.
Yeah.
That's an extension of yourself. If you have
You pay for staging for your...
I do.
Oh,
I absolutely do.
Okay, so that's part of your value prop.
And why is because, it's already such an emotional roller coaster for the sellers, and you really want them to know that you're as a team.
Right.
So not everybody has that luxury, but I will tell you, if you can do it, it just makes it so much easier, because I know that it makes them feel like you're committed to them. And it's all about me pleasing them again.
Yeah.
And
pleaser.
I know.
Totally. Yeah. Well, did I just drop a totally? That's crazy.
You totally did.
Totally.
All right. And then investing in the internet. because as we know, so much of today's perception is through the internet.
Yes.
And so make sure you are present in the internet.
I think the stat is somewhere around 90% of all consumers, 93% say they started their process online. So
and so they'd be like Trulia.
Yeah. Well, I think my feeling is that
shocker that the systems guy is the one that handles the internet stuff. Yeah, go ahead, Randy.
Well, my feeling is the internet is for the buyers.
Yes.
The newspapers are for the sellers.
Oh, okay, it's good.
So,
good clarification.
My feeling towards, a lot of people say I shouldn't spend any money on newspaper advertising. My feeling is it's image advertising and it's advertising for listings.
Yes.
You're not going to get a single buyer, I don't think, from a newspaper ad.
Right.
But I feel you still have to do it, especially like for Lisa, who everybody in the community knows her from volunteering in the schools, from just being around.
From talking to people in the bank about real estate.
Exactly.
That's
right.
But once they start seeing her picture in the paper, they go, oh, wow, she must really be a professional if she's in the paper.
Right.
So
now, on the internet leads, because those very often I'll chat with agents, and internet leads have developed a reputation as being devalued by the residential real estate community. And I think some of that has to do with in general as an industry, if we think someone's going to go into escrow in the next 90 days, we're deadly. God, we're so good. If we think it's in the next 9 months, we're not so hot in general as an industry. So I'm curious how you handle those, because if you get an internet lead, they're usually near the top of the funnel, not near the bottom of the funnel, right? Open house, they're usually a lot deeper in the funnel because they're sacrificing their Sundays, they're going out, they're driving all over, it's 105 degrees out, right? So they tend to be deeper in the funnel because they're sacrificing their time. Internet leads is pretty easy to cruise the internet and fire off a few questions about a pretty property. So how do you manage your internet leads? Do you have a response time you hold yourself accountable to? Do you have a drip system that you use? How often do you contact? Real tactical around your internet leads for just a sec.
Well, I know it's really important that when we get a lead, you approach it as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Because
what's that mean?
What does that mean? Yeah.
To you?
To me, it means that I'm accountable.
Yep. But what's your goal? Let's say...
Well, what's funny about this is that you mentioned is that we had a listing in Orinda, and I got a phone call from a gentleman in Shanghai who had seen our listing on Trulia. And he was returning back from Shanghai after being there since 2006.
Okay.
And he said, you know what, I really am interested in this listing of yours. I want to buy it. And I said, well, I just sold it last night. But I said, I promise you I will find you the perfect house. So he came out, and guess what? We're closing today.
Nice.
On a house in Moraga.
Yeah.
So any type of lead, any touch, anything, you know what? Again, that has to do with your perseverance and your goals. If your goal is to sell houses, you know what? You do anything and everything you can to accommodate these people.
Yep.
And it was just, and they were a delightful family. They are beyond thrilled with the home that we found. Yeah.
Good deal. Good. So if lead came in right now, you wouldn't answer it because you're on the radio show, dazzling the masses with your knowledge. But
I'd get it.
Yeah. Good. But if you were, if you're sitting at the office, maybe you were preparing to do a showing in a couple hours, and an internet lead came in, what's your preferred response time for an internet lead? What do you try to accomplish?
You try to touch base and give them value.
Right away.
I don't want to push them off.
Yeah,
so my job is to make them know that they're important to me, and I will tell them exactly, I do have an appointment coming up, but as soon as I'm done, I am coming right back to you.
Good. Okay, good. So next question we have. Clients have to not only like you, but view you as a trusted professional. How do you keep from blurring the lines? It's a hot song right now, isn't it? Look at you guys. Look at you guys getting all hip. All right. How do you keep from blurring the lines between business and personal? I totally want to hum that right now, but I won't.
Well, as Rainey stated, when our children were we've been in Orinda now 20 years, and when our children started school, preschool, all through grammar school, intermediate, high school, I've been a huge volunteer for the schools. And in fact, they'd say, do you live here? I'm like, well, basically. But it was just a fun opportunity for me to be a part of that. So a lot of people in Orinda, friends, acquaintances, always saw me as the mom. When I got into real estate 12 years ago, people knew that I was doing real estate, but they perceived me as the mom first. And so being able to get to a point where I was committed to it.
Yeah.
That's when all of a sudden, you start talking to people, and
Right.
they're like, oh, Mom the Lisa is kind of fading, and
She
the professional
clocked out.
Lisa,
Right,
yeah,
right.
And so but it's really important that you make the effort.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to, do the interpretation. You have to get out there. You have to tell them that you're the professional. And when you say that, mean it.
Yeah.
Know your inventory. Know, like I said, your community.
Mm-hmm.
So that way you are providing not only a service, but information that they can use.
Mm-hmm. I think the lines do blur quite a bit because
absolutely.
so much of ourselves is our business, right? But you have to be able to throw the switch.
Well, and what's interesting is that just recently I received actually 2 phone calls from friends that listed their homes with someone else, and they apologized.
Right.
And I thought that was really interesting.
That is really interesting.
Yeah.
Jerks.
Well,
No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. You didn't say that. I said that.
Well,
the views expressed are the views of Keith Robinson, not
yeah.
any of his guests or...
But agents do remember that there are many of us.
Yes.
And when people know a realtor, by chance,
it happens.
the odds are going to be that
Yep.
they know 12 agents.
Right.
And so you just have to show them who you are.
Have a sense of abundance about
absolutely,
it.
Absolutely. And but also make this job fun.
Right. Right.
And show your enthusiasm and interest in real estate, so that way when you go to a party, they're like, oh yeah, Lisa, Randy, they're doing the real estate. Gosh, they're doing, not only they're having a good time, they're taking really good care of, the people, but they're being successful at it.
Yeah, 9 out of 10 people surveyed have said fun people are more fun to be around.
You know what?
Yeah.
Who wants to be around Debbie Downer?
Nobody. Ever. Yeah, no fun. So, Debbie Downer, that's good. I'm going to make that my Twitter handle. What specific results can you track from your marketing activities in 2013? Real measurables.
Definitely, the internet, where like Shanghai, the buyers. We had a listing recently in Orinda where we did a transformation on a house. A neighbor came down and just said, I want you to list our house because my house looks like this,
and I want it to look like that. Yeah.
And so that's another thing. All these opportunities will lead into other jobs.
Right.
But you just have to get out of your way and get moving. Get moving.
You got to put yourself in front of the opportunity bus to get run over by it. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So those are a couple.
It's when the window of opportunity opens, you need to be standing in front of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Good.
Isn't he good?
He is good. He is good. If you're done with him, I'll take him. No? All right, you're going to keep him? Shoot. All right. So you guys gave us your top 8 tips to kickstart your business. And let's just walk through those kind of one at a time. And the first one I loved because there are times where an agent will come up to me and say, oh, Keith, I've decided that I'm going to stop doing real estate and I'm going to go get a real job. And it makes me want to throw them down a flight of steps.
Right.
Because if they would have treated this one like a real job, they'd never do anything else. It's the most rewarding career financially and personally, tremendous amount of freedom, ability to really live the life you want. And if you would have treated this one like a real job, you could have gotten so much more out of life. And I want to throw them down steps.
Right.
Yeah. So I think I did your first bullet for you.
Well, no, but you have to treat it like a job. Well, I think that's the funniest thing about this job is that, like I said, nobody expect you at at your seat at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And they don't expect you to leave at 5.
Right.
So you know what? You have to have an internal clock and an internal desire to keep track of that time.
I wish
and go to work.
I wish I only had to work from 8 to 5.
Well,
you know what I mean?
That'd be nice. But that's what
I
I'm
get
saying.
the point. Yeah.
So you just have to be self-motivated. You have to be focused on what you want. Entrepreneurial.
Yeah, entrepreneurs don't ever watch a clock.
Yeah.
They work when it's time to work, and they play when it's time to play.
Absolutely. And it's so satisfying. And like, as you were saying, is that when you want to take that time off, you can.
Right.
What other job does that?
Yeah.
And
none.
yeah.
Kathy's got to ask me. Then I say no and get back to your desk right now. We need more flyers or whatever. Right. Make sure you have good systems and checklists. I think you covered this one pretty well.
Yes.
Yeah. I like this. The 3 C's. What are they?
They are communication, and did I hear you? Communication. Yeah. No, this is a people business. Get out there and start talking, and make sure that your connections are heard. A lot of people are you can talk, and if people aren't really listening to what you have in terms of because you are not presenting any value, you know what? read books. Get yourself educated.
Right.
You know, learn about the internet. Look, absolutely, there's so much out there. But I will say, look at your own personality and see what works for you, and then do that. And like that's what's so great. Like I had mentioned before, Randy does an awesome job on what he does, and I don't really like that kind of stuff.
Right.
And he doesn't. It's vice versa.
Yep.
So it's
You cover all the bases.
Yeah. But talking and communicating is huge.
Yeah. Good.
And being a good listener.
Right. Which is a key to communication.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I mentioned it.
That's good. I'm going to skip down to not embracing use technology because I think we've hit that pretty hard. Be willing to spend money in the business. I see so many agents that operate their real estate business on like a 97% margin, right? They spend almost nothing on their business. Do you have any stats on how much you guys spend, how much you reinvest back into your business? Best guess. Gut.
20%.
20%? Yeah, good. And that's a lot more than most of the agents that I talk to, right?
Well, it's really hard when you're not generating income and you're thinking, oh, how am I going to spend money? And so, you know, that's where the open houses come in. That's where, you know, just doing something that is walking your neighborhood, you know, that it would be your farm, or it doesn't necessarily have to be your farm. Those are the inexpensive. But once you start, spend the money. I will tell you, it comes back at you.
Really, my personal opinion is 50% of every check you receive should be set aside. So, chunk for taxes, a chunk for reinvestment back into the business.
That makes total sense.
If you get a $10,000 check, you can spend $5,000 on your life, and then you need to set the rest aside for your business and for your taxes.
Right.
And so often I see like maybe 10% being set aside for taxes, nothing being set aside for the business, and 80% or 90% being spent on life. And that's a bad business model.
Well, and that's exactly it. You have to run it like a business.
Right.
I mean, if you invest nothing in it, you're going to get a little out of it. Whereas if you just start, you know, making yourself present, that is what you will get a return on your money.
Good. They not only have to like you, they have to view you as a professional.
Again,
I screw that one up sometimes.
Well, no,
I'm just kidding.
no, but you know, but people like to be around you because you know you're enthusiasm, you're enthusiastic, and they feel like you're a good ethical person, a moral person.
Yeah, professionalism doesn't mean that you have to wear a tie and be starchy and boring.
No.
Professionalism, I think, means you are the business version of your true self.
I like that.
And if you're playful and fun and silly, then be playful and fun and silly.
Yeah.
But just be the professional version of that. Yeah.
I hope everybody heard that because that's really important.
Nice. That's my first compliment in all the radio shows. Thank you very much. That was good. Say it again. No, I'm just kidding. All right, the last bullet point, which I like a lot, probably because it's really, you know, my value prop when I sold houses was I'll take a stressful process and make it a little more fun, right? Enthusiasm, I think, is important. Enthusiasm, always be more excited about your client's real estate journey than they are.
Absolutely.
Which is a great statement. That's an awesome sentiment.
Well, I spent, you know, yesterday in the car with a darling couple, and I could tell they were starting to get a little depressed because their ideas of what they want were not in sync with the value or what they were able to buy.
They're starting to get disappointed.
They were getting disappointed.
Yeah.
And I thought, no, you're in my car. No, that doesn't work in my car.
This is a no disappointment zone.
Yeah, this is a no disappointment zone.
What'd you do? You pull over for shots, or what'd you do? How'd you fix that?
But you know what? You just try to make them understand that they are fortunate that they can buy a house.
Right.
And, you know, maybe this is not the house that they will buy, but you know what? We will find you something. Absolutely. So you have
and no
to
one's
get
ever bought a
excited.
house and went, God, you know, we got this one, but we sure wish we would have got that other one.
You know what?
Everyone's gotten the house that they've gotten has said, we're so glad we got this one.
Absolutely. And but you just have to get excited because when they see that you're excited, they get excited. And, you know, and that's what this business should be about. It absolutely pains me when I hear somebody going, oh, my real estate experience was such a pain. Or, you know, I'm like, no, not with me.
Yeah,
not with me.
Debbie Downer's got to go.
Debbie Downer's got to go.
Well, Lisa, Randy, thank you so much. I know how busy you guys are with your very successful real estate business and coming and being so transparent with everyone who's listening to the radio show and just sharing how you guys have built a successful business. Appreciate you both very, very much. Thank you.
Thank you. And it's been such a pleasure. And I just want to say the webinar has been hugely helpful for us every Monday morning to listen to. So we always make time, and that's another Regina thing, is just saying, listen to it. You can always get tips. So thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely, our pleasure. Thank you, Lisa. Lisa actually has reminded me of a story that I'm going to tell. I don't do too much story time in the radio show, but I'm going to do some story time this time. I was Rookie of the Year, blah, 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 right? Who really cares? And selling a lot of houses. And I started to get burnt out. And after my first year in the business, I sold a bunch of houses. And then going into the first quarter of my second year in the business, I went 3 months without closing an escrow. And it's funny, I went to my escrow coordinator and was turning, I don't even know why I was up there because I didn't have any escrows to be managing, probably just because she had the good coffee. So I went to the escrow coordinator and was telling her stories about, war stories about showing property and, clients. She asked me an interesting question. She said, Keith, you used to always come in here and you'd talk about how excited you were and how much enthusiasm you had for your clients and for what you were doing. And now all you do is come in and complain and gripe about your clients and how frustrating they all are. And what changed? So my head was so screwed on backwards. I walked away from her going, stupid escrow coordinator, what's she know, right? But luckily it was one of those lingering conversations that well after the conversation I was thinking about what she'd said. And she was 100% right. I had gotten burnt out. I worked too many hours, hadn't focused enough on my personal life, personal time. And I got to the point where I literally was repulsing people away from me. Shocker that I wasn't closing any business. And I decided only thing I was going to do is just go back to loving my clients and being enthusiastic about serving them. That was the only thing that's what I was going to do. And I was going to wake up every day and be fired up. And even if I had to fake it, I was going to fake it, but I was just going to bring a ton of enthusiasm and energy to whatever it was I was doing around residential real estate. And almost overnight, everything started to shift and everything started to change. And that's one thing I see for sure with Lisa and Randy is they have an amazing ability to channel and harness their enthusiasm and focus it to the client. And it's something that I would encourage all of us to emulate because it's really, really attractive. It really is an attractant and will draw people to you and help you do more business. So they're a shining example of that, and appreciate you sharing that with everybody on the show. So story time's now over. Everyone go 9-9. All right. So now we're going to go from that, and we're going to enthusiastically talk about planetRE. Woo! So a lot of you may not know, but we did shift our transaction coordination software platform. We were on a different platform, and we shifted to planetRE, and proof that Katie and her team are doing an amazing job. When we did the shift, I sent out a series of emails to the first people to go through the new system. And most of the emails returned, new system, what? I don't know. I send my stuff to the escrow coordinator, and magically I get everything done. So, but we do have a new system. I think by the end of the month, we'll have 100% of the offices on
end of September.
End of September.
Yeah.
So I'm going to introduce Katie Maria. She runs our transaction coordination and transaction management team. Then I'm also going to introduce Vito LoGrasso. He is an agent in the Tice Valley office who's been an early adopter of the planetRE system. So they're going to talk to us a little bit about this awesome new system we have, and most importantly, how we can better serve clients with it and why we decided to make this change. So Katie, Vito, welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so let's dive in. So tell me a little bit about the new system, planetRE, and why did we pick this over our old platform, Katie?
So one of the things that we are hearing from the agents that they like is the consistent way documents are now named in our platform. Mm-hmm. In our previous platform, the coordinator manually named each document, and it varied from file to file.
And coordinator to coordinator.
And coordinator to coordinator.
And if they were having a good or a bad day.
There could be abbreviations.
This damn TDS.
Exactly. It could be named real estate transfer disclosure, or it could be named TDS. So it became difficult for clients.
Or, more paper.
Yeah.
Right.
For clients and agents to find what they were looking for. Mm-hmm. And in the new platform, every single document is has a predetermined name, and the coordinator selects it from the list. So it is going to be the same name every single time, every single file. So it's a lot easier to find what you're looking for.
Cool.
Another nice thing about the new system is that every user has the same view. In our old system, the coordinator, the client, the agent all had different views. So when you were trying to walk someone through where to find something, how to work the system, it was kind of hard because you're looking at something different than I was looking at.
Got it.
And now everybody's looking at the exact same thing. So again, it's a lot easier to help people walk through the system and see the same thing.
Good. So Katie gets paid to say good stuff about it, so we're going to promptly move along now and get to the truth. I'm just kidding, Katie. Just kidding. So Vito, as an agent, what's been most important to you in this new transaction management system, and what do you really dig about it? How are you using it in your business maybe differently than the old one?
Well, my business is picking up.
Yeah.
And it's to have 4 in escrow as opposed to 1.
Yeah. Yeah, woo! That's it. Radio show over. Go sell houses, people.
Well, the thing is, I want to keep my clients in contract. Keep everything.
Right. Noble endeavor.
I don't want them to be out of contract because of my error, misreading something. It's so easy when you're juggling more than 1 or 2, and this gives you notices 3 days in advance that you're going to have your loan contingency removal or something's going to come up. And I'm on the dashboard right now. I can see all of my open escrows.
Yeah.
I could click to them. I go right to the page, find the
He
material.
really is looking at it right now on his computer and staring at the dashboard. It makes for horrible radio, but trust me, he's looking at it right now. How'd you open all those escrows? We're going to have you on another radio show talking about that. All right, good. So the ability to see your entire dashboard, to know where your transactions are in time and space, ability to have sort of your landscape of open escrows and active listings in front of you is a helpful tool.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And what's nice about it, too, is my buyers right now are on the same screen, just as Katie said. So they're looking up there and they say, oh, this is great. Now I know where I'm at. So the ones that are using it have less questions. Less questions means I can go get another contract,
Right.
show some property, get another listing, something going on.
Are you to the point yet where you're steering clients to the website to go check it out, or are they just sort of your early adopters are thinking it's cool and there are others that still want their Vito fix to get the answer?
You know, it's half and half.
Yeah.
And there's always some that are hands-on, and the gentleman I have that's from the FBI, he is hands-on. He is in there. He got his
Lord.
He got the inspection report before the inspector sent it to me. He got it from the state already. I was like, oh my goodness.
Right.
So he's
I never worked with any clients from the FBI. I always referred them out. I was a little nervous about the background check. So transparency, right? I think what we're seeing is this sort of cloud computing and people's comfort level with working through portal-based systems, right?
Absolutely.
Because so much is moving to a virtual or an online, housed somewhere else kind of world. The learning curve for this is really starting to flatten out, and people's comfort level with adopting a platform like this is becoming a lot more. And that was probably one of the worst sentences I've ever uttered. A lot more. That was terrible. But the individuals are starting to get a lot more comfortable with this concept of, let me log into this website to get an update on blank, right?
Sure.
I was at a restaurant a couple weeks ago. I saw a guy balancing his checkbook. And I thought, oh, how quaint. He's so cute. Look at that guy balancing his checkbook. Like, who still does that? Don't we all just log in and look at, oh, look, there's still money there. I'm going to go spend it. So, people are becoming very comfortable with this portal-based system. And I think that the more as a company we can start to be comfortable with steering people. Not everyone will want to go that direction, and that's okay. But at least having the default be, this is where you go to get information. And then if you have questions about the information, I'm always here for you, as opposed to, I'm going to chew through all this information, then I'm going to disseminate to you, which is more the old model, right? And as these walls start to come down around this portal-based system and sort of self-learning, I think if we can be at the front end of that, it will create exactly what you've referenced, which is a lot more ability to do more transactional volume because your time is now freed up.
Absolutely. I want a better quality of life.
Right.
I want more time with my family.
Mm-hmm.
I want more listings. I want more buyers. But I just need a system, which I have,
Yeah.
and a transaction coordinator who is there for me too. That system means I'm completely mobile.
Yep.
So when I was in Aptos, or Aptos as they correct me over there.
Oh, God. Jeez, snooty.
And I was
She's
on
like, yeah,
vacation.
no, it is. Yeah.
I could go into the system and find things, and if I need to send something out, just ask Debbie to do things too. So it just works fantastic that I don't completely let go of my business, but I feel I have better control, and also I could be a better project manager.
We're maybe not quite there, but we're pretty darn close to being able to be fully remote.
Yes.
Where you can really run your business from just about anywhere. It used to be in the old days, you'd have to go back to the office and write up the offer, right? And you'd have to print it, sign it, and then we were pretty high tech though, because we could fax it back then, which was hot, right? You could fax it to somebody. Now, someone wants to write it up, you could write the offer right there at the kitchen counter in the house that they are writing an offer on. You could be an Aptos, and be able to forward the disclosures that maybe they didn't get a chance to review and they didn't bring them with them wherever they are. They're out of town, you're out of town, and yet they can still receive all the information. So if I were an agent who's never logged into any transaction coordination system, which is the kind of agent I would be, would you say to me, at least log in and take a look at it, just to have an experience with it? Or, should I just keep head down, keep doing what I'm doing and fire all my emails over to Katie and she'll fix it for me? Or
I would recommend taking a look at it.
Yeah.
I would look, there's a button you can click that hits calendar and shows everything. And then you can just copy it and put in your Outlook if you want to, or you could just print that one out if you're...
So it'll copy all the dates and put them into my Outlook?
Absolutely. Oh, I don't know if it'll copy it that way. I would just manually do it.
Got it.
If there is a way to do it, that would be...
We should probably find
You can ask Sam.
All right, we'll find out. Stay tuned. Coming soon to a radio show near you. All right, cool. Thanks for that honest and direct feedback, Vito. I appreciate it. So sometimes the simple things, Katie, is what people appreciate about technology. And what has planetRE dialed in that provides better ease of use for agents? How has it made the escrow coordination process more simple?
One of the big things I was going to mention, Vito just touched on, was the calendars. Our old platform did not have the ability to generate calendars. Any tasks that were in there were just in a generic chronological list, and so many people like to see it in a calendar view.
Right.
The Monday, Tuesday,
That's how
they
we think.
see it in their brain that way, yeah. So in our new platform, we have calendars, and the agents have the ability to add additional tasks if they want. They can add meeting with the appraisal on this date or meet inspector on this date. They can add any additional tasks they want, which is something that Lisa had touched on earlier, is write it down. Write down your stuff. And so with this system allowing you to add additional tasks to the calendar that's already there with your key dates for your transaction, it just makes it a lot more user-friendly.
Good. So what are the top three advantages to the new system?
One of the nice things in this system is always knowing the status of your signatures. In the old system, the document was just there. It didn't really tell you.
There.
Yeah,
Right.
You'd have to open it to see if it was ratified, if it was only signed by one side.
So it's more of a real dashboard where I can
Exactly.
actually see what the next step in the
Correct.
process is.
So in the new platform, every single document has listed right next to it, signed by just the seller or signed by seller and buyer, fully ratified. So you can see right there without having to click on each item who has signed what. So you always know the status of your signatures.
Good.
The next thing, which we talked about earlier, was that the documents are clearly named.
Yes,
You can,
helpful.
Yes, you can find things easily. It'll be named the same thing every single time, every single transaction.
Good.
And then again, the clear interface where all parties are seeing the same thing. So all users see the same view, and it's not confusing from one person to the next.
Good. So Vito, this new platform, what problems or issues does it solve for you? How does it make your business better by you using it and really trying to be an adopter of this technology?
Well, by having it digitized, all the forms, and it just seems like the other side, the agent always wants the form you've just sent.
Right.
And
At 10 p.m. as you're pulling into the hotel to get away for a quick weekend.
absolutely.
Right.
They can't remember it. They can't find it.
Right.
They need something. And, if I cleaned out my sent file and I can't go back and just resend it, I have to go and, either scan it but I just use the system.
Right.
Just go log in, hit it, send it from there.
Nice.
Just go for it.
So it allows you to have really your entire file, quote unquote, at your fingertips virtually.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So basically we're saving your back because
Yes.
you don't have to lug around your 4 or 5 escrow files that are as thick as the white pages.
Well, we always not boast, but we pride ourselves on being paperless.
We can boast about that. That's cool. I'm down. I'm down for a little boasting. I'll beat my chest as much as anybody else.
but this helps you to be paperless.
Good.
It really does.
Good. Katie, what about for you and for your team? How has it helped you guys do your job better?
One of the biggest things for my team is the filing and splitting of documents.
Mm-hmm.
In our old platform, it was very tedious. We receive, big scans from agents, 100 pages, sometimes more, and to sit there and say, okay, pages 1 to 3 are the TDS, pages 4 to 5 is this, and so on. It was very tedious. And in the new system, it's a breeze. It's much more efficient.
So you're encouraging agents to stack up hundreds and hundreds of pages and just
the
fire
less,
it over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Heck yeah. Woo, that's my kind of fix.
Absolutely, because we can just file it so much faster in our new system.
Good.
Another great thing for our team is that my entire team has access to the other team's files.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone's out sick, or even let's just say an agent can't get a hold of their coordinator because she's at lunch and they decide to call our department line and say, I need help on 123 Main Street, we can easily look it up now. In our old system, you had to log in as the administrator to have access to someone else's files.
Got it.
And now every coordinator on my team has access to every coordinator's files, so we can help.
So ease of use is up.
Yes.
Good. There's another change that we're rolling out. We've decided to phase out the creation of disks at the end of each transaction. Talk to me a little bit about that, Katie. Why did we decide to do that?
We have, as we're trying to be current with technology, we came to the conclusion that, a lot of laptops and iPads no longer, many of them don't even have slots for CDs anymore. And so we want to stay current with what the users need, and it's so much easier just to send a link. Here's all of your documents. The client and agent already have access to the file for 7 years by going to the portal, which a lot of them already are going to the portal. And if not, we can just send a link.
Yeah, one of the things, Katie's being very polite because this is actually Keith's pet peeve more than maybe anyone else in the company, because I'm in the field all the time and I will be chatting with an agent and I will see stacks and stacks and stacks of CDs being used as coffee coasters, Frisbees, and Ninja Stars. And I really do believe that we are a tech-forward company, and we're always trying to innovate. And sure, we miss it, and maybe sometimes we're late to some things, sometimes we're early to some things. We will always have the technology and the ability to burn a disk for an agent who really, really wants it. But the where technology is headed is certainly not towards the CD-ROM. It is headed away from the CD-ROM. And if we want to really talk the talk and walk the walk, then we have to be comfortable with migrating to skating where the puck is going, not where the puck is. And I bought a new laptop about 6 months ago. It doesn't even have a CD-ROM port. If you buy a laptop right now, it'd be tough to find one with a CD-ROM port unless you're playing DVD movies on your computer. So short of that, you don't see it much. So we'll always have the capability and ability to do it, but if we're going to say we're a tech-forward company, then we need to try to act like one. So good job, Katie. Congratulations. Any new enhancements coming to the system that you want to tell everybody about?
So yes, we will be fully integrated with the MLSs soon, all the different MLS boards. Right now, new platform, we still have to work on enhancements, but we will be fully integrated with the MLSs soon, so the coordinators can just plug in the number, and it's going to pull in the photo of the property and all of the property details, your bill, and all of that information.
Good. So again, we'll continue to innovate and use the system differently and refine the system. I do want to encourage you, look, if I'm going to be transparent, I'm not a technology adopter. It's not normally who I am. I'll normally let a lot of my brethren chip their teeth and scar their face as they are the first ones through the door on a lot of technology, and then once it reaches sort of adoption point, then I'll be the one to go, all right, I better put this into my business. I believe this portal-based approach to residential real estate is here to stay. I don't think that's going to change. I think a combination of the REO cycle that we just went to and this, it's not actually new, it's just new branding for it, but this idea of cloud-based computing is creating a comfort level with this that is only going to increase its use. So if you are like me and are an agent who would probably never log into your transaction management platform, I might want to challenge you to do it and just try it. and just log in and see if it makes your business a little better. Make a 60-day commitment that you're going to, on any escrows you get in the next 60 days, you're just going to log into the system and just have an experience. My guess is you will start to be more efficient. You'll start to sound a little more like Vito and a little less like me, which would be a good thing on this particular topic. So I want to encourage and challenge you to use the system and see, and just take an attempt at feathering it into your business and see what sort of experience you have. Just make a 60 or 90-day commitment to see what that looks like. Katie, thank you for all your hard work. I want to publicly acknowledge you. You've been working really hard in this transition as we had a change in leadership, and you've stepped into that gap, and you've done an amazing job. So we appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
And Vito, your time is so valuable. We love you being here as one of the early adopters and Uber users of the technology. So thank you for coming down to tell us a little bit about it.
Thank you for having me here.
All right, everybody. One more quick announcement. The poker tournament that we had scheduled for September 20th in the Wine Country Group is canceled. So make sure you mark that off your calendar. Although we could just go up there and play poker. I'm probably down. But the organized tournament is canceled. We can get you more details as to why. Thanks so much, everybody, and make it a great week.